As you can see from the title, we got a topic. We have a topic. There's this there's this thing I'm noticing amongst the city dwellers. I don't know what to call them. Obviously, I'm a city dweller now, so I can't compartmentalize too much. But there's this very non-caring attitude that I think is dictating our our world. There's an extreme form of not caring, and there's an extreme form of virtue signaling. I think that is happening right now, and there's no real middle ground for it to exist. It's a very extreme, and you'll notice that all sort of political or ideological sort of um, groups or forms of expression are very extreme now. They sort of they kind of have to be in order to gain any sort of notoriety or retention. But on an individual level, walking about, you'll notice, for one, you'll notice specifically if you're walking, how there's no one walking. You will literally notice. Obviously, I'm generalizing, but like the people who are outside in designated areas. First of all, the park where you could go and run, or they're going to the gym, to meet the person, or they're going to the bar, or the club. I'm sure you can meet people. There's a specific type of people there, that's for sure. But just walking, wandering, there's none of that. There's and that disturbs me, really. I think to reclaim any sort of freedom, or to even organize something, is to wander about. Obviously, I'm generalizing, and you can find these wanderers, but they're wandering in a sense of going somewhere, in the sense of being seen by something or someone. They're not wandering to wander in the sense of we're outside creating and this is a new moment. It's more of a wandering towards this objective that they're thinking. And when you have a public, I think, that kind of is constantly thinking about itself from another outside gaze, outside perspective, you get a sort of hidden environment that I think dictates and starts to form. And that environment is creating this sort of movie and camera thing at the same time, where people are genuinely performing, or they're frozen in the cool, looking cool, and the nonchalant. I heard Tyler the Creator say something about that, and it really, I don't know. It's something I've been thinking about for a while. Genuinely, this sort of idea of that, and I think what I've done in the city that I find very very passionate, or I think what I've found in the city that makes me feel passionate. I live in the sort of the hood, the ghetto, if you will. I would call it the hood, I guess. not the safest area, not, but there's a collection of individuals. Punks are near, and there's a lot of black people too, honestly. And it's just an environment that I feel weirdly protected in. I can't explain it. Like I can, but I can't. I think I don't know. There's respect for one another. I think that doesn't exist in like our normal, predominantly white Western communities. I feel like every time I've been in those sort of like neighborhoods that are predominantly white, I feel as if like I'm in a fucking Hallmark movie or something, and everyone's trying to be perfect and have this image. And sure, that exists here in every society and every culture. You can't escape that. But I think there's a different feel and different level of consciousness in the in the hood or in the ghetto that exists, and it's very. I can. It's not that I can blend in, but I can definitely identify with it. And I think we're in the midst of a transition in our society where this performative side that is being created due to the amount of screens, cameras, digital download, digital culture that never turns off and is instantaneous in communication. This thing that I think we're developing into is going to be very imaginative. Like you think about all the fucking names of like the Romans and the Greeks, right? And the gods, and they're like these names that you're like, what the hell? Why is this a name? My next door neighbor apparently has a kid, and they named it Legend. And then I realized we're in a new time. Like we're going back to a sort of mythological existence where everything is kind of more aesthetic in a sense because I mean that kid is going to be an adult someday, and his name's going to be Legend. Just want you to think about that. Anyway, what I think is interesting is when our language and things we name begin to change, and we become a more image based, or I guess image based society. Um, the names we have for things are very big and epic, if you will. Because I think, especially in like a non or orgiastic, you know, what is it? Um, Monogamous society, um, where you can track them father, you know who the father is, naming and kind of the performative side of the child tends to kind of reflect on the parents' image of themselves and how they want to portray it through the child. Um, so that's always interesting. My name is Jacob, by the way. Bible name. I mean, it makes sense, right? And I guess some ideas that I'm going through are the structure of which we're moving in, where that structure is taking us. Like, picture if you've seen the Charlie and or Willy Wonka, or no, it's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Not the old Willy Wonka with fucking Gene Wilder. The new one with fucking Johnny Depp. and not the newer one with fucking Timothy Chalamet or whatever, but the Johnny Depp one, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I'm just thinking about the scene where they're going through the tunnels, floating on the chocolate river. That's exactly what I'm picturing. Our just kind of our world as where are we going, and what will we see amongst, the river? And it's going to get weird. It's going to like lock in. I mean, be excited, be a little scared, whatever. Um, I picture it to be no different than some roller coaster ride or an intense psychedelic trip. I think it'll be. I think sacrifices will be made, and tomorrow will always come. It's going to be an interesting ride down the river of chocolate. I can't help but think about Hunger Games and then carry on.